Alright guys, welcome back. We are watching Onimonogatari Episode 1, Shinobu Time, Part 1. Two very interesting titles for what we're getting into, right? Onimonogatari, like demon story, I guess. And Shinobu Time. That is a I guess it's Shinobu Time. That sounds good. Sounds awesome. Um, I don't know. I am excited for whatever we're getting into here. I have no idea. We had like a Shinobu, what felt like was essentially a Shinobu arc not that long ago, Kabuki Monogatari, right? So I don't know. I'm interested what this is going to be about. I have literally no idea. So I don't know. It feels like this is probably going to be different from some of the previous arcs we've been having, right? We had a couple arcs in a row, Hana and Neko Shiro, that were kind of like almost like conclusions to those characters, or like kind of like resolution arcs for those characters, right? Our previous arc was was kind of different. It was a continuation of a character, but it was something. And I don't know, Shinobu. I am interested to see where we're gonna go, and I don't know what a demon has to do with all this, but I guess we will see. So we are watching Shinobu Time Part 1. You can line your own copy up with this if you want to. We are starting in 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. It's the Madoka City. Dun, dun. Oh, hi, Ogi. What's up? Demon. Huh. Okay. Sure. Sure. It wasn't always that name though. She had a different name. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Interesting. Interesting. Something of the past. Ooh. Things concluded. Okay. Interesting. I don't know. Interesting way to think of it, maybe. I. She's riding a cow. Okay. A tale from her past. Hi, Ogi. Let's rewind her clock. Okay. Sure. I sounds awesome. Shinobu time, I guess. Yeah, makes sense. Okay, okay. Oh, I gotta go back and read this. What is up with you, Oshino Ogi? Ooh, interesting. Want you to think about it. Let us begin. Okay. Huh. Oh, wow. This is a very different opening. Like, so much stuff I feel like to think about from that intro there. This is a very unique opening, huh? Feels like we're really, I don't know, really getting into something, huh? Man. Hmm. Ooh. Oh, the art style. I mean, it's like the art style from the endings, right? A very different opening than anything else we've ever had. But I don't know, I didn't dislike it, that's for sure. 21st of August. Okay, we're back. Okay, okay. Same day as the first day of Tsubasa Tiger. A very common type of time travel, if you say so. Is that? Are you sure? Is that really? That's really how it went, Aragi? I don't know about that. Mm-hmm. I I guess. Yeah, right. If you really want to phrase it that way. Remember, he never asked her in Kabuki whether or not. Okay, great, thank you. Imagine if he had done that before. That would have been pretty nice. God, so negative. Oh god, I haven't been in Araragi mode for a while. So many text flashes. Yeah, needs her backpack. That backpack means something, doesn't it? What? She seems incomplete. Feels very faint. If you say so. Oh, this track again. What a classic. Hmm. I, I guess. Oh, this all means stuff for sure. But you can't. Yeah, it's part of their body. Okay. Aragi's doing his best. He's trying to thematically analyze it, but don't say that. Come on. Okay. Oh, yeah, of course. Even though you're invisible to them, so even if they were here, it wouldn't help. Oh, shit. We got a time limit. He took off his shoes. Good job. Good job. You did it. You should have known. Come on. You failed. Yeah. It's like Namekuji. I guess that means slug. Or maybe it's some kind of pun. I don't understand. After everything he just did for her, like, come on. Although, what he was trying to do for her was something. Oh, God. I, I guess it kind of is like that, frankly, in a sense, honestly. Sure. Does Aragi have, like, any money, honestly? What were all those lines? Okay. Come on. So much text. God. Really excited for it, of course. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Naturally. Okay. It. Okay. It's it. It was a mystery. Okay. What are we talking about? Okay. What? What? Okay. I. Sure. Right. What are we talking about? Okay, it's the mysterious orb. The darkness. Okay. Oh, God. What is Aragi, like, losing his mind? Okay, we're running away from it, from the darkness. Okay, sure, I guess. What is it? What are we talking about? It's like it's there before you know it. Is it the concept of death itself? Like, what are we talking about? Okay. But I mean, they're both sensing it, so I mean, I guess it must be something. Okay, it's not time for that. She's so mad. Okay, Aragi, calm down. Yeah, we went through all that work for this backpack. Come on. Okay, buddy, come on. With more, no one is rotating right now. Okay, buddy, it's getting closer. No, okay, this whole darkness thing means something, like, obviously. This is the most obvious it means something thing ever, right? Yeah. Is it. I guess it's an oddity, an aberration, in a sense, right? It just seems so much more direct that it, like. Okay. I don't know. I don't know. Interesting. Okay. What are you doing? Oh, God. The darkness. Huh. I feel like I could really go crazy trying to. Oh. Okay. That was weird. They broke an antenna. Same thing. Same thing. She's fun. Okay. I like. Come on. Yeah. 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 Good thing no one can see you, right? Oh, God. Not the traffic lights. Oh, fuck. Oh, shit. Oh, God. Oh, red lights. Red means stop. Oh, fuck. I'm gonna have to think about this episode. Are we gonna get hit by a car and die? Like, suicide bombing? What was that text flash? Oh, God. That was very interesting framing of that shot, the way it was, like, in between all the traffic counts. I don't know. Huh. I have to rescue this girl. Hi, Oninoki. Oh, God. Another bike has been destroyed. That is the only context we ever really hear the word Oni, isn't it? What Oninoki calls him. Oni Oni-chan. Oh, sure. I guess it literally was yesterday, right? And Kabuki, the first episode of it. I literally, what is it? Yeah, she's supposed to be the one. Thank God it's just stopped over there and it's waited for us to finish our conversation. Well, you showed up. You're supposed to be the one to do it. She's dead. It's over. What? What do you mean? Yeah, this is way too much of a bother. If you say so, I guess. Yeah. No, I mean, Araki loves to do that, though. He loves to say things like that that sound so good, but, you know. Yeah, for us too, honestly. I, yeah, so many text flashes. Okay, run from it. Interesting. Huh. Something that Araki wants to run from and not directly face. Hmm. Okay. And no, nothing of the sort. Okay, what? Yeah, that would be horrible. Okay, off we go. We escaped. We escaped. Oh, we're at the cram school. Holding on to two good for nothings. Haragi, did you have to take off all your clothes? Like, come on. I sure. I guess it sounded very fancy. Man, the lighting in this shot is something. Meaningless to escape two-dimensionally. Okay, sure. That means something. Oh, I guess. If you say so. He does have his crazy vampire body, right? No, he doesn't actually have to work out. He just got the body instantly when he became a vampire. Ooh. No, that's an interesting line, though, saying he should stay like this forever. I don't know. Huh. Yeah. Hmm. Okay. It's interesting that she doesn't know, you know? I wonder, does anyone know anything about it? Hmm. I see. Yeah, that's. I guess it just like I was a common type of time travel earlier. Mm-hmm. Sure. Has he really had to deal with her though? I guess. Yeah, yeah. It's very different, isn't it? Yeah, darkness. I can think of some things you could maybe connect it to, but I don't know. Hmm. Okay, I suppose. Yeah, I don't think we have. We literally said we're just gonna run away from it, right? Yeah, it doesn't have to be chasing anyone in particular, right? I mean, it could be. Yeah, I guess I was following them. It could be chasing Aragi. It could be chasing Haji Kuji. I mean, who knows? I guess. Obviously, I immediately want to say it has to be connected to Aragi, but where is Kaganui? Okay, sure. To be fair, we know Gain Izuko is in town, like right now, doing stuff. So something is up, right? I, I maybe, I guess. Haven't heard of that superpower. Oh, Shinobu. Shinobu. Yeah, yeah. Ononoki has a bit of a history with Shinobu. I wonder if even Shinobu will know about the darkness. I wouldn't be surprised if she doesn't, honestly. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, 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 of course. A senile geezer. Who is someone who would definitely know about the darkness, right? Um, I will talk about it later. Sure. I don't know. This thing feels different, doesn't it? Like the way we've been talking about it. Yeah, he just keeps very interesting the way he keeps doing this, right? The way he's just talking about how all these other people are going to solve this for him, you know? I sure, right. Oh god, grinding her foot into his shadow. I why would you think that? Okay, so what are we going to do? We're just going to sit around and hide in the cram school? Okay. How would you I could gouge out one of my abs and present it to you, I guess. Interesting. Huh. Is there? I love her voice. Of course, he would do anything for anyone. Stepping on the shadow again. What is... Okay, right. Okay. Ononoki, what are we doing? Yeah, no, this is... Okay, alright. No, and when she says you cheated, she's talking about, like, Shinobu, right? Like, for sure. Okay, yeah, thanks for the lesson. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, yeah, just keep giving us shots of her standing on the shadow. Right, right. Yeah, yeah, exactly. God, she's so petty, isn't she? It's like she seems so emotionless, but she acts like this, you know? Man. Oh, that's the end? There's literally no way that's the end. Okay, we have a long after credit scene. Thank God. Jesus. Okay. Lots of stuff to think about from that. Um the darkness, huh? The darkness. Huh. Really gonna have to think about it. Really gonna have to think about the darkness. What do we know about it now? It's something that Aragi wants to run away from and doesn't want to face. Um, we'll just have to go back. We'll just have to go back and look at. So I don't know. There's so many little lines about it that I think really mean stuff, right? Like for sure. Um, I don't know. I don't know. Very interesting. Got no Shinobu at our first episode. Like the arc's called Shinobu Time. I got Shinobu in the ending so much. She's eating donuts. Hmm. Okay. What is happening? Okay. I said, what? Okay. What are we doing? Okay. No, you can't. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Save the day yet again. Oh, God. So violent. Yeah, perfect. I guess this is the first appearance of the Kyuketsuki punch, timeline wise. Hmm. Oh, sure. I guess we were running away from the black hole of doom. Yeah. Hmm. Interesting thinking. Oh God. Oh no. Oh God. I don't let Ononoki get to you. Like, come on. Okay, it doesn't matter. Like, let's calm down. Like, are you forgetting that he literally has a girlfriend too? Like, he's dating Sindrugahara. That doesn't bother you? But I guess, of course, Ononoki does, because it's Ononoki. But, come on. Okay. Thank you. Oh. Okay, it's an important situation right now, Shinobu. Like, stuff is going on. Like, please. Okay, sure. For I guess. I, what? Okay, you know what? Okay, that was a lot of text. I guess that kind of that puts her in her place, maybe. I don't know, in his mind. Well, come on. Jesus Christ, so much text. Hmm. Okay. Do you know something about it? Okay. Sure. Okay, so she does. All right. When would she have seen it before? Sure. Is it something we know anything about? I don't think we know anything about. Oh, maybe we do. Yeah, the first minion. Okay. Interesting. Hmm. Swallowed up by it. Okay. Sure. I guess it seems like a pretty big deal. Okay. All right. All right. They sure have. They're very impressive now. I would watch a whole episode of preview quizzes. Mm-hmm. I I guess if you say so. Okay. You think that's just better? I guess. Oh, perfect. For you. Exactly. There we go. Okay. All right. All right. Me neither. I don't know. Okay, that was a good episode. Lots of stuff to think about. I don't know. We will talk about it in the discussion. Okay, let's talk about the episode. This is an interesting arc already. I feel like, man, I haven't been in Araragi mode for a while. We haven't had Araragi as a narrator for like three arcs, right? It was, oh no, it was only two, right? It was Hana and Otori, and now we're back to Araragi. So, I mean, it's been a little bit, but I gotta put myself back in Araragi mode, where it's Araragi, so it's always special to be in his mind. We start off here with Oshino Ogi. I guess, should we even call her Oshino Ogi anymore? Because, I mean, Shinobu is calling her the niece pretender, right? At this point, I think it's pretty obvious. I don't think there's any relationship between Ogi and Oshino Mime. Um, I think so, right? But I don't know. I don't know. I guess it's Oshino Ogi. I'll keep saying Oshino Ogi. And I don't know, very interesting. We get this shot of her walking down the stairs, turn around, and then demon, right? Which maybe that isn't too inaccurate of a thing to be calling her. There's also like there is, some phonetic similarity too between like Oni and Ogi, right? So I don't know, just saying, just saying. Not that I really think that like means anything. I don't actually think Ogi is like a demon from hell, but it's yet to be seen, I suppose. The name Oshino Shinobu has become plenty comfortable to us. Okay, so the main thing that we need to think about in this arc, right off the bat from this first episode, is what the hell is up with the darkness, right? What is it? Like, what are we talking about? Um, I think I want to view all of the other information we get in this arc in that lens to try and like understand what we're talking about here, right? So the name Oshino Shinobu has become plenty comfortable to us. We feel no discomfort with it. The name just fits in such a satisfactory way. Immediately, these first lines are interesting because it's like, yeah, Shinobu has changed, right? She used to be kiss shot, right? Uh, and it's like him saying, oh, she's Oshino Shinobu now. It's like it's almost like that is making you realize, making you think about how different she is as a character now, right? How differently we view her now compared to like Mbake and Kizu, right? She's a very different character now, right? She truly, yeah. There's no discomfort with it anymore. I guess, right? She's Oshino Shinobu now, you know. So it's like we are pointing out, I guess, just in a sense, how much she has changed as a person. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, her existence is entirely different now. I suppose if you wanna view it in oddity terms, I guess. There are so many text flashes. There is no way I'm going to get them all. So her previous name is already something of the past, even for her. Things concluded. Wasn't there another one there? Or am I crazy? Past. Oh, come on. Hmm. Man, I'm trying to do this thing where you can go to the next subtitle, but the way the subtitles move around, it like thinks each frame is a different subtitle, so it like doesn't work properly. Things concluded. Things that possibly never happened. Their veracity is unconfirmed. Very interesting. Very interesting. Co-signing things away about her to just being something of the past, right? That's very interesting. I think that's very relevant to Araragi as a character as well. I mean, obviously, Kabuki was kind of in the same vein as this already, it felt like, right? It was like Shinobu coming to terms with her past decisions and like who she could have been, what she would have done. It was kind of similar with Araragi. It was kind of different. Aragi's Araragi, but um for Shinobu, that was certainly very much like a core part of the arc, right? Like her literally, essentially talking to not really her past self, but the version of herself that she like could have or would have been, you know? Hmm. How Shinobu is who she currently is. For an iron-blooded, hot-blooded, cold-blooded vampire. Oh, that is not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get this, like, come on. There's another text flash in there, wasn't there? Am I crazy? Am I insane? Casting away the form and name of Kiss Shot Ashura Orion Heart Under Blade. You could say that the fact that Shinobu is who she is now is a result of her occasional whims. That's an interesting thing for him to say. I don't know if I'm reading into this line too much. What joyous whims they are. She may look very young, but since she's lived a long life spanning over 5 centuries... Yeah, this stuff about her whims, right? I don't know. That's a weird way for Aragi to be viewing it, I think. Because I think from our perspective, we know that it's Shinobu being the way she is now isn't the result of her whims or whatever, right? I think it's very specific events in her life that have changed her and made her the way she is now compared to when she was kiss shot, right? So I think it's interesting that Aragi would say it like that it's a result of her occasional whims, you know? Because that's a very Aragi thing to do, right? I think that's kind of that's something that I'm kind of thinking in relation to the darkness as well, is Aragi, like, because of the line later in the episode with Aragi, the darkness being something that Aragi doesn't want to face, that he wants to run away from, right? I think that's really what that line later about how he just wants to escape kind of hints at, right? What is something that Aragi wants to escape, something he doesn't want to face directly, right? Is the idea of, like, change, right? Like, changing as a person, you know? That's kind of like Aragi's thing at this point, I imagine, right? Like, essentially ever since Skihi Phoenix, where at the end of Skihi Phoenix, it was like, what? Aragi in that moment accepted the idea of, despite being a monster now, that he's still himself, right? That, you know, despite all the stuff, everything that's happened ever since Bake and Kizu and all of that stuff, you know, he's still himself anyway, right? It really was like a rejection of the thing that was set up in Kizu with the way he viewed relationships and the way he viewed himself, right? The problem is, of course, he can reject that, and he can understand, of course, that it's like, you know, that's you know, maybe he was wrong about that, about his stance on relationships. But he still has to be able to accept the change in himself that is going to happen, right? Because here's the thing, right? Like, his whole problem initially, relationships with other people turning him to a monster, that was always like a secondary concern, in a sense, right? The primary concern of all of that was changing as a person, right? He just viewed relationships as something that would surely change him, right? The changing as a person was always the issue, right? So I think even if he can now understand that relationships are, like, good and all of this, right? And he might not be a monster even though he's changed, he still has to, like, be able to accept that change, right? And I mean, like, maybe this just feels so vaguely connected. I just think him, just even this line, him saying that Shinobu, it's almost like he's discounting the change that's happened in Shinobu, right? Maybe not discounting it, but it's not like he's really looking at it in a way that makes sense, saying that it's just a result of her occasional whims and not like more significant things that have changed her, you know? Does he view himself like that too, right? Maybe, and that certainly would be something he doesn't want to face, right? Um, Obviously, I don't know how to connect that to the darkness at all, though, right? Like, it wouldn't make any sense to say that the darkness represents change within Araragi or something, you know? So, I don't know. I don't know. Hmm. She's riding a cow, though, so that's pretty cool. She's not being considerate, but acting on more of her whims. Let's rewind her clock. This time we'll talk about how such whims of hers worked 400 years in the past. We're going back. What kind of events she faced within the country 400 years ago. That past is linked to the present. Is there another text flash there? No, there's not. Okay. As for the reason why, as usual, I helped others and they helped me in return. Doing something despite being unable to do anything. Of course, right? Like that, like it's lines like that that really make you realize that despite how often Aragi likes to say things that make it seem like he's made so much progress and has changed so much as a person and is so much better now, that he just, I don't, you shouldn't be thinking things like this. Like, I just, like, doing something despite being unable to do anything. I don't know, I don't know, man. And we keep getting these shots of Ogi. It's interesting because, okay, so yet again, our last Aragi arc was like this too, where we started off with Aragi and Ogi having a little meetup, right? And it was the conversation that they had there that made Aragi start remembering uh the events of Kabuki Monogatari, right? It was like a flashback arc, right? And this is obviously right after it. So are we still within that same context essentially, right? Because we're getting these shots of them meeting up yet again, right? Also, I just want to say we get all these fucking crows and shit. Like man, not good. I don't know what Ogi is, but I'm starting to think it's not very good. Well, I had someone read that part. I don't know what that means. And Ogi opens the door. Ogi opens the door. Hmm. As for me, Aragi Kiyomi, I'll tell the tale we're reminiscing about her. I guess it really is the same thing, right? It's still it has to be within that same context or something very similar, right? He's saying the same thing. He's telling a tale we're reminiscing, right? Um okay. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. And I guess maybe that's important, right? Because that means that this narration here that we just had that I just said all this stuff about is even further on in the future from the Aragi that we're seeing like in the arc right now, right? So I mean, it makes you wonder: does something happen to like make Aragi's mindset about things like worse again? You know what I mean? Because he is so negative during this narration at the beginning here. You know, um, I don't know. I don't know. Interesting, right? Because it is true, obviously, that ever since Nisei, essentially, things have been going pretty well for Aragi, right? He's been making a lot of progress. Nisei was essentially the most success Aragi's ever had, right? A whole lot of good stuff happened in terms of his relationships with other people, with Sindra and with his sisters, and with even his own mindset about things, the whole monster stuff, the conclusion of Skihi Phoenix, right? All of that stuff, right? It was going so well, right? Um, and then Kabuki happened. What happened in Kabuki? Like what was Aragi's takeaway from Kabuki? Well, I think we see in a moment. We see he thinks he failed, which is fucking weird. I don't know. I'm just wondering, right? Because he seems so negative now in this narration, which is some point later in the future, you know? I don't know. I don't know. And Ogi opens the door. I want you to think about it. Okay. I'm thinking, I promise. I'm thinking so much that it's been 12 minutes and we're a minute in. So the opening is weird. Anyway, 21st of August. So this is the first day of the new term, right? This is the first day of Tsubasa Tiger. This is the day, Hanakawa wakes up, sees her parents eating dinner together. The tiger spawns in. All that stuff happens. Right. So we're finally gonna learn. We're finally gonna learn where Araki was during all this crazy shit. Experienced a very common type of time travel together. If it's common, I've been missing out. There we failed to change history and dejectedly returned to the present time. What a way to view Kabuki, right? What a way to view those events. To say that you failed to change history and dejectedly returned, right? Because I guess there's no reason for Aragi's mind to have been changed, right? But like we talked about this all the time in Kabuki about how insane it was his idea of wanting to destroy Hajikuji in the first place, right? But the fact that he's still thinking of it that, right? That he failed and they dejectedly returned, right? Because he didn't succeed in having Hajikuji not exist anymore. And this is after that conversation that him and Hajikuji had at the end of Kabuki, right? Where it seemed like this really cleared all this up. But he's still thinking of it in this way, that they failed and they dejectedly returned, right? Like, man. The end. Personally, there was an emotional reason behind that time travel as well. It was to prevent the loss of Hachikuji Maoi, who lost her life in a traffic accident at the young age of 10. Like, this is the look of a delusional person who is thinking insane things. I just don't... How does he still think like this after everything that just happened in Kabuki, right? That it was all just to prevent the loss of Hachikuji? When Aragi, you're pissing me off. Is this the same place where he was, in Nisei, where he was like riding his bike and Shinjigahara like turned away and walked off, and he, remember that? And he did the bicycle slide, I think it's like the same hill. Why did I bring that up? I just got into my mind. I don't know. So he finally asks Hajikuji the question that he was supposed to ask. To defend my honor, this is petty. I wish to make this easy to follow. I didn't want to be revived or anything. So, like, finally he asks Hajikuji the question he was supposed to ask her before he did anything, right? Again, it's like, he got it in his mind that he had been, like, failing to help Hajikuji this whole time. That he should have, like, already done this for her, and he should have already saved her, right? And he just thought that he should have already done it. So he went to go time travel and make her not exist anymore without ever even having asked her, right? And when he does ask her, she immediately says, oh no, I don't want to come back to life. Okay, now to think about this in like a thematic sense about Hajikuji, so what? Hajikuji to me represents just like the good parts of Aragi's life. Like, I don't know, right? Like, she is the one relationship that he can't corrupt in this crazy way and think is like evil and bad, right? There's like no way for him to do that, I think. Kabuki was like his attempt to do that, right? Like when he was thinking like, oh wait, I've actually been failing this whole time and I should have been helping her. But here she's even rejecting that, right? So even still now, it's like he can't think of a way to like corrupt this relationship and make it be like a bad thing, right? Um, and that's kind of just what Hajikuji is. She's representative of that in, like, the best way, right? Like, representative of the opposite of his weird shit about relationships and them being bad in any way, Like, as long as he has a relationship with her, it's like, that's evidence that he is wrong about that, essentially. Of course, it's not so easy for him to just accept that, but... Anyway, her saying that she doesn't want to be revived, what does it mean for her to be... What would it mean for her to be revived anyway? Like, thematically? I think we talked about this before and I didn't have an answer. I don't know. I don't know what it would mean for her to be revived. Other than in the sense of her, like, not existing for Aragi, right? Like, there's that sense of it, right? Because her being revived would mean she wouldn't be here for him to have a relationship with her. But for her to be revived in, like, some other sense, like if we could snap our fingers and Hachikuji is alive instead of being a ghost, I don't know. Because I don't know, like, what it means for her to be a ghost, Like, what does it mean that she is a ghost while being the representation of Aragi's, the opposite of Aragi's relationship mentality, right? I guess you could say her being a ghost is important because, like, you could say it means, like, she's, like, dead, right? The same way that, like, Aragi's, like, mindset about relationships was, like, so bad and was, like, assumedly, he had a more positive outlook on relationships before, and I guess you could say that just like Hajikuji, that part of him, like, died, in a sense, right? So yeah, she's a ghost, right? The same way that his mentality about relationships is, like, a ghost, I guess, right? Hmm. After failing to change history by time traveling, I would return to the present only to find the start of term ceremony was already underway. It is crazy he would still, after she told him that, he still thinks after failing to change history. Because now he should be thinking, oh, thank God I didn't change history. Because then she, like, whatever, whatever. We've talked it to death. Okay, we're talking about backpacks. We are talking about backpacks. While I was getting worked up about changing history, Hachikuji had been wandering all over town in an attempt to retrieve her backpack from my house. So what the hell is a backpack? It's true that without my backpack, I look more like a slug than a snail. We talk about the differences between slugs and snails. I don't know what to make of it at all. I don't know, like, what a slug or a snail is. You know, okay, now I know what slugs and snails are. I don't know, like, what they are thematically, right? What does a slug represent? What does a snail represent, you know? And we're talking about shells. It absolutely means something in relationship to all of this, right? Let me read these lines again. Okay. Come to think of it, I heard that slugs and snails are the same thing. Something about a slug is a snail that's regressed from having a shell. That's just not true, but I don't know. It feels weird that a shellfish would lose its shell by regression, yet have something left. But if it were a human, wouldn't it be something like I lost all my bones, but I'm still alive and well? Okay, so if we're comparing a shell to the bones of a human, what are we saying? Right, what are your bones, right? They're something that kind of make you up as a person. They're the foundation of, like, your body, right? Like, you would really not exist without your bones, right? It's like the structure of you as a person, right? Okay. If you think of a shell as an exoskeleton, then yeah. But in terms of what it does, isn't it more like skin? I mean, Aragi tries to, like, make some connection here, saying that, like, her backpack has important stuff too, and she denies it. But her not having her backpack, I just don't have an answer, do I? It absolutely means something, though, you know? It has to. It's just physiologically impossible to accept the current situation that my belongings are in your hands. I don't know if I should just take this line just as a joke. Because obviously that is just what it's presented as, essentially. It's just as a joke, right? She's playing her tsundere act, honestly. But I don't know. Hachikiji Mayoi will simply become Mayoi the Slug. So if we're comparing, even though she denies it, if we're comparing the backpack to a shell to the bones of a human, which I guess you can say are like the structure of what makes someone up, then like what? Then like she's lost the structure that makes her be a person? That doesn't, I don't know what that means, right? That doesn't really mean anything. And if you want to look at it in a thematic sense, I mean, again, it's like, it would be so hard. It would be like, we're behind like so many layers of like weird thematic lenses now that I just, it's beyond me. I'm sorry. I wish there was something I could get out of it. Because obviously those lines are there for a reason. I always feel the need to like defend myself on this. Because to some people, I must just sound insane. But obviously there's a reason why the author wrote that exchange, right? There's a reason those scenes exist. And it means something, right? Especially in a story like this that's so meta and always has like these deeper meanings behind things. It definitely means something. I just don't know. Hajikuji doesn't want to go in his house when his parents and sisters aren't here, even though she is invisible anyway. So, like, if Aragi wanted to do something to her, he could do it anyway. Not that I'm saying that he would or that he should, but he could, because she's invisible. So, like, come on. Don't touch that, please. That's my stuff. Now I have to get it cleaned. Man, she's being so mean to him. Frankly, he kind of deserves it, because he did just try to make her not exist anymore. So, like, maybe he deserves it, right? Yeah, he's wiretapped it. It's over. It's over. People would look at you like those parents that order enough food for themselves and their late daughter. Honestly, yeah, it kind of would be like that. In a sense, honestly, if you want to view Hajikuji in this like thematic way of her being like this part of Aragi that almost he like lost, essentially, right? This like like almost more innocent and naive way of viewing relationships compared to like his current way, then it kind of is similar to that, right? You could say Hajikuji is like part of Araragi in that sense, you know? I mean, she is an oddity. She is an aberration. So in a sense, she kind of literally is, right? Okay, so a bunch of crazy shit starts happening. We got some text flashes. I've only entered Araragi-san's home at night to watch over him. What? To begin with, what you did yesterday was practically kidnapping, you know. By the time the series ended, there will be more novels, like so many zombies endlessly being brought back to life. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? There's a lot of things I'd like to eat, but none that I'd like to eat with Araragi-san. Oh, he's thinking of all the potential answers she could give. Of course, of course. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So the darkness shows up. No, that was on purpose. Okay, yeah, we start going through the, you know, the Kamimashita, yeah, yeah, yeah. Blah, 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 blah. Um, it shows up. So why has it shown up? Why did the darkness show up now? It was a mystery. Mystery. This was my only answer. Even the question of whether or not it was an aberration was not one that we, or well, I, could answer. Shinobu says it isn't. So we're talking about the darkness, and okay, we immediately were talking about this weird, like, perceptive shit about it, right? We can't see it. The fact that I couldn't see it doesn't mean that it was transparent. However, if you can't visually recognize something, it means you can't admit the perception that you can't see. So we're saying, like, if you can't see something, then you don't know that you can't see it because you can't see it. Sure. I was witness to something I could not see. You can't realize that you can't see. In other words, it doesn't exist. Sure. Something you can't perceive cannot exist. At least within the human brain, such logic stands. And in this case, I was able to perceive this invisible thing. The fact that I could perceive what I couldn't see. The fact that Hajikuji is so affected by it too, right? Like Hajikuji is so fear struck by it and is so shocked by it. Hmm. Like, should I be thinking more in terms of it being specifically related to something about Hajikuji? Or maybe not Hajikuji, but like what Hajikuji represents, like for Aragi, perhaps, right? Um, there's just so many things you could say it represents, right? Maybe that's the point. It's just this whole amalgamation of potential things, right? Like, oh god, I don't know. I don't know. The darkness was right there. The darkness. Hmm. Well, now I'm really thinking, right? Like I was saying earlier about how it's interesting how later on in like the timeline, like chronologically speaking, it seems like Aragi's mindset about things might get like worse, right? Like it seems like from the context of the beginning of this arc, right? The narration at the beginning of this arc, kind of the beginning of Kabuki too, in a sense, right? It seems almost like he is like I don't know, like his rapid progress he's been making ever since Nisei might kind of end, or something happens that makes him like, I don't know, uh become a doomer. Like, I don't know, right? And the darkness showing up like this, uh it just makes you, just this sudden thing appearing that is like here what to kill you, I guess, you know. Um there's a lot of stuff I could almost imagine it being representative of, I guess. I feel like it's too early to say exactly. Um, but I'm gonna keep some things in mind. I just said a whole bunch of nothing, I know, but that's okay. So we start running from the darkness. I mean, like immediate, like just watching this scene, it's obvious it's something that Araragi wants to desperately run from. Hajikuji seems to be running from it too, right? She's just as terrified of it. Which again, it's like to me, so what? The idea of change. Um, there's a lot of stuff Araragi would want to run from in his past. Honestly, like I don't know. I mean, uh, being suicidal and depressed, having a horrible life. Like I don't know, right? Those are the kinds of things I'm thinking about in relation with like, okay, the darkness shows up now. The darkness is here, representative of maybe some kind of like horrible thing that Araragi doesn't want to face. Araragi ends up having to face it, and then Araragi is, I don't know, his life is over, and he becomes all depressed. Like, I don't know, right? Hmm. It's like it's there before you know it. Like this line right here, right? That means so much, right? I just don't know what. It's there before you know it. It's like it's not close to us, but it's also not that far away. It's like a riddle, right? What's something that's there before you know it, that's not that close to you, but is also not that far away, right? Like the idea of death or something, right? That's what it made me think of immediately the first time. Um, but like I don't know. Hmm. For someone like Hachikuji, that's a very vague way to express it. I know, but I think it's a vague thing, right? That is totally understandable because that darkness is invisible. The fact that it's invisible means you can't accurately gauge its distance. Right, the fact that it's invisible, it's like it's something that is, like, sneaking up on you. Some kind of sneaking thing, right? Like, for Aragi, is there something in Aragi's head that is, like, sneaking up on him, right? Some kind of feeling or emotion he's been suppressing, right? I mean, I've talked about this for a while, but it's like the conflict between his mindset about things and him realizing that he's like changing as a person, right? Because his whole mindset and his whole like worldview about everything was all this idea of him not wanting to change, right? And yet, despite that, he's been changing a whole bunch for a while, right? So like is that gonna hit like a tipping point and it's like that's like the thing creeping up on him, this invisible thing that's there before he knows it, right? One day he's gonna look at himself in the mirror and be like, oh, I don't even know who I am anymore. I hmm so there were some very strange moments in this episode. I don't know. Hachikuji's hugging Aragi's back. I'm not gonna analyze it. I don't know if it means something, right? Okay, I guess in a sense you could say it's almost like him. It's very interesting. No, I'm going to analyze it. It's very interesting how in this moment he is so desperate to hold on to Hachikuji, right? I guess have Hachikuji hold on to him. And that makes sense, right? Like, because of course Hachikuji is representative of so much good things in his life, right? So of course he desperately wants to save Hachikuji in this sense, right? Run away with her, have her hold on to him, and like, he doesn't want to give her up, of course, right? Um, it's just interesting because this is, of course, again, coming right off the tail of Kabuki, where he just tried to destroy Hachikuchi, right? Just tried to make her not exist anymore. And that is a very interesting conflict. I just wonder what Aragi himself thinks about that kind of thing, right? Like, is he self-critical about that, right? Like, does he think that he shouldn't be feeling like this about Hachikuji? That he shouldn't be trying to desperately hold on to her like this? If in his mind, in some weird way, it would be better off if she didn't exist, right? Because I think that kind of was the basis of Kabuki, right? Was in his mind, he thought that Hachikuji was like too good for him, essentially, right? That this relationship he has with her shouldn't be able to exist, right? So he had to make her not exist anymore. Or he had to try and find some reason why it was bad and why she shouldn't exist, right? And it's just interesting that conflict between that kind of mindset that I think he definitely has and this, where he is so desperately trying to save her and trying to prevent her from being destroyed by maybe the darkness represents perhaps that same mindset that led him to want Hachikuji to not exist in the first place, right? It's like the conflict between those things, maybe. Hmm. In other words, there's a chance that the darkness is an aberration that needs to be witnessed to take effect. Very interesting. It was an aberration. He really wants to think it's an aberration. I don't know. Huh. Stop pretending to dispel it like a Mikoshi Nyudo. I don't know what that means. By looking. Might not work. No idea what that means. It's like he doesn't even want Hachikuji to look at it, right? I don't know. Very interesting. Huh. And he sees it. He sees it now. I glanced at the darkness. She broke an antenna. Unlucky. Oh god, and then the fucking stoplight appears. Not the stoplights, right? We all know the stoplights mean things, right? Ever since that conversation with Ogi, stoplights have shown up several times, and they mean stuff, right? I don't know. Obviously, in this case, right, what we're thinking about with this whole stoplight thing is, like, the relation with Hachikuji, right? Hachikuji died in a stoplight-related accident. So, like, I think that's why it's on his mind, right? But it also definitely means something other than that in this moment. I'm, like, positive, right? Feeling Hachikuji on my back, I couldn't ignore it. I couldn't have her too. Okay. No, this is so relevant, right? God, this whole thing about red lights, right? Because we talked about this. We talked about this in the Kabuki, in the first episode about Kabuki, in Kabuki, with the conversation between Ogi and Aragi, right? And there was the whole thing about stoplights, and it was like about how Aragi's sense, essentially, of like what right and wrong, we were calling it like his sense of danger in that case, has like changed essentially, right? That it's like he's going on red lights now, almost you can say, you know. And it's like in this moment with Hajikuji, who I think is representative of so much in relation to that too. He's thinking about how he can't run this red light with Hajikuji on his back. It definitely means something. It definitely means something. I can just tell the author's doing something with that, right? I straight into the car lane. Wherever I tried to turn, there it was. That darkness. He can't inescapable, right? It's like it's always in front of him, right? It's like this shot here, it's like we have this path just leading you to the darkness. It's like it's unavoidable, it's inescapable, you know? That's certainly what it seems like, you know? Very interesting. Something inescapable. Something that Aragi has to face that is inescapable. That he tries in vain to run away from, that perhaps wants to destroy Hajikuji as well. Interesting. I don't know. Huh. Very interesting. I have to rescue this girl, yeah. Huh. And here's Ononoki. Ononoki saves the day. Thank God. And thank God the darkness just decides to stop and wait for us to have this conversation while we're chatting with Ononoki, you know. Wasn't your role to suddenly appear, save me, and then explain everything? I guess that's the standard, I suppose. Except it really kind of isn't. Has that ever happened for Aragi, honestly? Kinda. I guess you could say, like, a little bit it's happened, but, like, come on. God, and he thinks about how Hajikuji's weak. Like, come on. What are you saying? The darkness is chasing us. It's scary. It looks like I got myself involved in something I don't exactly comprehend. Me too, Ononoki. So, like, don't worry. Don't worry about it. Don't tell me you should have left us alone. Life is a very precious thing. This is the type of thing that Aragi loves to say. He loves to just say these lines, like, life is a very precious thing, and, you know, just things like this, that it's so hard to take him seriously. It just seems like he is reciting a mantra of the type of thing that he thinks he should think now, right? But I just don't know if he does, you know? I don't know. I don't know. Huh. Funny how an undead vampire says that. It sure is. It sure is. Considering, like, the circumstances in which led him to becoming a vampire, right? Yeah, it really was yesterday. Fight it or run from it. Run from it. Yeah, and this is the line I keep talking about, right? The one where it's clear that the darkness is something he wants to run from. Hmm. Interesting. Okay, so we escape. He checks for an aberration hiding up her skirt. I guess he's very thorough. And up we go. Up we go. I couldn't escape from the darkness, no matter how hard I pedaled. God, it's really, man, he can't escape from it. He can't escape from it. I just feel like there's so many things he can't escape from. So it's really, I don't know. Hmm. Hmm. So, okay, you had proven to me it's meaningless trying to escape two-dimensionally. I don't know if that line means something. It probably does, but I don't know. Anyway, we start talking about Aragi's muscles. I don't know. I really couldn't tell you. For one, Aragi doesn't work out. He just got this body instantly when he became a vampire. So like, he kind of cheated. You know, I'm surprised he hasn't like lost it yet. Honestly, I feel like he got to do a lot of work, right? Because I assume since he's only partially vampire now, like I assume his regeneration isn't strong enough to keep his body perfect at all times, right? So it was like when he was fully vampire, he instantly got the perfect, amazing body. And then he's less vampire, so it doesn't like maintain that same way, I assume, right? So I'm surprised he hasn't, he's not working out. So I don't know. I don't know if this is just Ononoki already trolling Shinobu at this point or not, but maybe. I don't know. Can we talk about something else now? Literally. Ononoki doesn't know what the darkness is. It's interesting that Shinobu knows what the darkness is, but I mean, I guess it makes sense, right? Because, I mean, Shinobu and Aragi are the same person, right? There is so much that is just the same about them that it does not surprise me at all that Shinobu has faced the same thing before, right? It does surprise me that she faced it 400 years ago, but I imagine when she faced it 400 years ago that she didn't, like, deal with it, whatever that means exactly. You know what I mean? Hmm. I'm nothing more than a commonplace quasi-vampire that goes to high school. How common? How common? Feels different. Like I've never seen an aberration so vague, like it was darkness itself. Yeah, I exactly, right? That's why it's so hard to say what it represents, because it seems so vague, right? You can imagine the idea of a big dark orb, even something that Aragi wants to run away from, as representative of like a dozen different things, right? That's it's so hard, right? That's why I've been rambling about nothing for this entire discussion because I just don't know, right? There were so many things it could represent, right? Um, I mean, it makes you wonder: does it even have to be an Araragi specific thing? I feel like no matter what, even if it isn't an Araragi specific thing, like the reason why it exists, it is going to be specifically relevant to something about Araragi, right? Like it has to be. Because it feels so relevant already to him as a character, right? Like just all this stuff we've been talking about. It would be insane if it has nothing to do with his mindset or anything at all, right? It doesn't have to literally like be that in the story. It could be something completely separate from him, right? Some kind of outside force, But it's something about the way he's interacting with it is like meaningful, obviously. In that sense, like let's say I don't think this is what it represents. I don't think it makes any sense. But let's say if it did represent somehow the idea of this change within Aragi, which I don't think it does, right? That doesn't make any sense. Even that is something that, yes, is specific to Aragi, but like if it represents change in general, that is something unavoidable, something you can't run away from, something that's there before you know it, right? So like that would be the kind of thing I mean, right? Where it doesn't have to be an Aragi specific phenomena, but the way that Aragi interacts and thinks about it is an Aragi thing, right? Even like the negative way he's viewing it, right? Calling it the darkness and all of this. Obviously, I guess it seems pretty dark and scary, but even that, right? That even just more so, I think that means something, you know? Hmm. The possibility that the black blob was merely a phenomena affixed to an ordinary aberration is a lot higher. I don't. That's an interest. I'm not sure what she means by that entirely. Well, if we get into that, I'm not sure if we even dealt with it at all. I don't think we have dealt with it in any sense. Hmm. I guess she's kind of saying the same thing, right? Just like how phenomena such as storms and typhoons don't target a particular human. Sure. I mean, like I guess it was chasing him and Hajikuji. It just depends like what it is. You know what I mean? Like, is it really chasing them? Is it like I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Well, I just have to see more. Kaganui Yozuru. We have not. I mean, Kaganui. Oh, Kaganui Yatsuki. Her name is Kaganui Yozuru, right? But he's thinking Kaganui Yatsuki. Okay. She's an old acquaintance of Oshino's. Okay, and also I want to bring this on the table because I was thinking about this during the episode. I just didn't say it. Guy Nizuko's in town right now because this is during Tsubasa Tiger. Who is someone who would definitely know about the darkness because they know everything? Guy Nizuko, right? We know that Guy Nizuko is going to do stuff with Aragi because Guy Nizuko is apparently the one who gives Aragi the snake god talisman that Nadeko eats. So I assume Guy Nizuko is going to be showing up in this arc, right? I said this last time, I think. I said this during Kabuki and then she did it, but she has to. She's got to show up this time. I'm positive. Hmm. I was trying to be polite, but the duty of confidentiality of an exorcist was stronger than I anticipated. When they say exorcist, is that the same word as specialist, or is that, or are they literally saying exorcist? Is there some kind of like difference there, right? Because I guess you can call Kaganui an exorcist more. That certainly is a more violent sounding word in a sense, and also Kaganui only deals with like immortal oddities, right? That was the whole thing in Skihi Phoenix. Maybe. Oh God, she does not. She's not a fan of Shinobu. I also just want to say, I want to bring this up because I think it is important. So Aragi's hanging out with these three little girls. Okay, that's a bad way to start the sentence. I knew that was going to be a bad way to start the sentence, so I didn't know why I started it like that. But he is. He's hanging out with them. And Hajikuji, we have a very good idea of what Hajikuji represents for Aragi, like in a thematic sense, right? Just like in a, story writing sense, right? I don't think it would be a stretch to say then that Ononoki and Shinobu represent things similarly, right? Of course, we've had the Ononoki conversation before about how like it's really hard for me to say what I think she represents like for Aragi, right? Like the connection between her and his mentality about like humanity, I think is undeniable in a sense, right? Like she is purely an oddity and is very like she's so monotone. It seems like she completely follows the orders of like Kaganui and like Gun Izuko, assumedly, all the specialists, right? Um, so I assume that connection is intentional, right? Because that's kind of Aragi's thing, right? Like his whole thing about how you'll become less human, you won't be yourself anymore if you form relationships with others. And Ononoki is kind of like that, you know. Um, but I don't really know what that's supposed to mean, right? Especially with this episode. And I mean, more previous episodes with Ononoki have shown this too. But it's so clear that Ononoki is still like a person and is still a character. You know what I mean? Like she still has um personality, like her whole grudge with Shinobu and all of this stuff, Um and I don't know if that's the point. I don't know if that's supposed to be like in some way. I just don't like it. I just don't like viewing her in this way relating to Aragi's whole monster thing, I just don't know if it makes any sense. But in that sense, it's like, what would I say Ononoki represents, right? I don't think it's coincidence that we have three little girl characters. One of them, at the very least, represents something for sure, very specific about Araki. All three of them are coming together in this arc, right? They're all hanging out. And I don't know. I really want to figure out what I think Ononoki and Shinobu. I want like a definitive answer for what I think you could say they like are, like from a story writing perspective. Maybe that's impossible. Maybe there won't be as clear cut of an answer for that as there is with Hajikuji, right? But I don't know. I don't know. Hmm. I don't trust the knowledge of such a senile geezer. I guess Ononoki and Shinobu have beef after Skihi Phoenix, right? I don't think Shinobu is going to be eating the darkness, unfortunately. And I'll ask Hanakawa to explain the mystery of the darkness sometime later. It is interesting that Aragi keeps looking for other people to like solve this problem for him, right? Like, I don't know. That's very interesting. I guess could you relate that to the same way he wanted to just run away from the darkness and like not face it directly, that he wants this to just be resolved without him having to do anything in a sense, right? That he thinks just the people around him will be able to do it for him. It's interesting though that feels like it represents such a significant shift in his demeanor too, right? Because normally he's the opposite of that. Well, he wants to be the one to do things. But in this case, he's thinking all this stuff about how Hanakawa's going to do this and solve it for me, and Shinobu's going to do this and solve it for me, and blah, 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 blah. I don't know. Very interesting. Hmm. Yeah, I think there's something wrong about being completely reliant on someone else like that. It's very interesting that Ononoki would say that, because I think through Aragi's eyes, that's really how he sees Ononoki, right? But I don't know. I don't know. Huh. Very interesting to think about Aragi potentially being what, too reliant on other people? I mean, that's unimaginable, right? But I don't know. I don't know. Huh. Weren't you going to be at my side forever and protect me from harm? So he repays Ononoki. I guess she is the one who does this to him. Frankly, he's the victim here. She kisses him. And frankly, I think it's just to piss off Shinobu, right? That's the only point. At the same time, I think thematically this has to mean something. Him kissing her here, like I feel like the imagery of it has to mean something, right? Whatever you want to say Ononoki represents for Aragi, him kissing her here, it definitely means something. I'm positive it does, you know? Like I just don't know what, because I'm just not sure on Ononoki yet. I don't know what to say. What I should say, like what way Aragi could view Ononoki in, you know? Like what it would mean for him as a character, the way that he views her, you know? I don't know. I don't know. Because again, it's like essentially all of the characters and the whole story so far have been like foils to Aragi, right? And a lot of them, it's pretty simple to see like in what way you can relate their problem, their struggle to Aragi, right? For the oddities, it's interesting because it feels like a much more nebulous thing where it's not a problem that they face, but more so like what they literally like their nature as an oddity, as an aberration, is like in some way related, and their relationship with Aragi in that sense too is some way related to something about Aragi and like a problem he has, you know. And again, that's so clear with Hajikuji, and kinda with Shinobu, right? With Shinobu, I mean, Shinobu and Aragi are just like the same person, right? Like they have so many of the same problems, so much of the same stuff going on that I guess it would be hard to say what Shinobu represents either, but I feel like it's much more clear, right? Much more clear than whatever's going on with Ononoki, right? I don't know. Maybe it'll be more clear throughout the arc. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. What is she even saying with a completely straight face, too? I don't know. I really couldn't tell you. Well, I just wanted to teach you that trust and stuff like that all crumble away so easily. Thank you. Thank you, Ononoki, for the lesson. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Directed at Shinobu. Yeah. And then we get the credits, but we have a very long after credits scene. Like, insane shot of Aragi. Like, what am I looking at right now? Like, he's really excited. Like, man. And thank God, Shinobu saves the day. Deserved. With Kyuketsuki Punch. Except, I guess this is the first showing of it, right? Because then in Nautica Medusa, you know, that's later in the timeline, so. So, man, Shinobu really lets Ononoki get to her immediately, right? Oh, also, we're talking about this weird, like, thematic lens of viewing these characters in terms of, like, their relationship with Aragi. The fact that Ononoki and Shinobu have, like, this adversarial relationship, that also definitely means something. And I guess, in a sense, obviously you can say it's like, okay, Shinobu does represent, like, all of this, in a sense, this positive change about Aragi, right? Similarly to a way that Hajikuji does. Not really the same, right? But they have dealt with so many of the same struggles, and they're so like linked to each other in a sense, right? It's like Ononoki, if Aragi views Ononoki in some sense like a more negative way because of her link to like her masters, right? Like making her a monster and all of this stuff, right? In that sense, you could say that Shinobu and Ononoki represent almost like opposing things. So then them having an adversarial relationship in that sense like makes a lot of sense, but I don't know. Maybe it doesn't, because I am still so unsure about Ononoki. Like what was Araki possibly going to bring up here? What was his plan with this diversion? He was going to ask her to grow her hair really long for fun? Like man, and Shinobu like lets it get under her skin. Like, shouldn't she realize that Ononoki did this to piss her off, and then she just lets it happen? Like, come on. But how he shoved me, his lifelong partner, aside, and performed acts with some outsider, a little Shikigami girl. Like, How did Shinobu cope with the fact that Aragi is also literally dating and in love with Shinjogahara? How does she cope with that? When, like, again, I guess it's just because it's Ononoki, right, that she's pissed off, like, I guess, right? But, come on. Like, what is these flashes? I want to know as soon as possible. I want her to tell me. Darkness. But she refuses, of course. You chit-chat with all sorts of girls on a regular basis. You always dispense with small talk when you have something to talk about. Like, I guess, she's just jealous. She's just like, come on, Aragi, you gotta spend more time with your shadow, I guess. Man, she's so pouty. What's this one? Not only is it symbolic, but also downright heretical. I don't know what that means. Sure. Oh god, we're talking about the kiss again, aren't we? The kiss is some way symbolic of something, but it's heretical. I'm telling you. For sure. And he kisses her. I get it in a sense, because in a sense all he's really doing is like getting her to shut up. And I get that, right? And of course, I think in Aragi's mind, this just means nothing to him because like it's Shinobu, right? Like it's him. You know what I mean? It's like he's kissing himself. Um. So like I don't know. I don't really think it like means anything. You know what I mean? It's weird because I was just saying the kiss with Ononoki definitely means something. This kiss, I don't really feel like it kind of does. Maybe it does. In a sense, it just feels like it's just kind of dampening the impact of the previous one, showing you that it like I don't know. I don't know what to make of this other than he just did this to make Shinobu shut up. Like I don't know, right? Like okay, a ridiculous number of text flashes. The Midsummer Adventure was completely and utterly pointless. Why the hell did he waste one whole volume on that nonsense? You must be stupid, just die. What? Oh wait, you're a half vampire, so you can't really die. What are we ever going to do with you? Geez. What are we talking about? I guess. Well, being detested to the bone by a young girl is a rare experience that might actually be worth celebrating, so I'm not exactly against putting up with it. That said, Aragi, what are you talking about? So we tell Shinobu all the stuff about the darkness. Make sure to stress that it was very friendly. Of course. Oh, God. Just so we're clear, I swear on every god's name that I haven't laid a finger on Hachikuji's backpack since she forgot at my place yesterday. I might have been called a cruel man with a Lolita complex, but my moral fiber hasn't deteriorated to the extent that I put my hands on a girl's private property. Yeah, thank you, Aragi, for making sure that we don't think you're weird for touching her backpack when you just kissed two little girls in 5 minutes. That really is probably where your mind should be in terms of like worrying what people will think about you. Probably really, yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense, Aragi. Thanks for clearing that one up. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Her nuance was a bit different, quite different, huh? So Shinobu has indeed dealt with the darkness before. That darkness is not an aberration. The phenomena has no name. I wonder how much Shinobu actually knows about it, right? Like, is Shinobu... I don't know how much we can trust Shinobu on the darkness either, right? Because, I mean, she is also basically saying no one knows anything about it. I guess all she's going to be able to do is 400 years ago, she knew something, she like, ran into it or something. And she'll be able to tell us about that. But it's not like she knows about, like, really what it is either, it seems, you know? Bluntly, she declared, hmm. Back when she made her first minion. Back then I was entangled in that darkness. No, I guess you should say I was swallowed up by it. Swallowed up. I'd rather not speak of it, but in this situation I can't really keep it that way. Now that it has surfaced, the worst case scenario is if I leave it be, this entire town will fall to ruin. Thus it begins, late as it may be. Interesting. Being swallowed up by it. Okay, well, I am shocked I managed to talk about this episode for an hour, considering I feel like I don't know anything. I feel like so much about this episode is stuff that I just don't even know what to say about yet. But I somehow still talked for an hour. So I guess if you enjoyed, leave a comment, tell me what you think. Subscribe, please, if you enjoy my videos. Um, I am excited for the next episode. I need some answers. I need to figure stuff out, that's for sure. Man, I'm falling behind. I gotta figure all this stuff out. Like, what are we doing? Man. Okay. Anyway, I will see you in the next one.